There's nothing worse than when you have that client on your schedule, right? It's maybe like, let's say the Sunday or the Monday before you get back to work, and you're looking at your schedule ahead and you have Karen on Friday and you are dreading Karen, right? She's always a pain in the ass when you see her. She never likes her hair. She is always making you uncomfortable with whatever conversation she's sharing with you. I've had my fair share, trust and believe. And maybe you know that your life would be so much less stressful if Karen was not on your books. Like, that would be a dream. Like, how relieved would you be if Karen told you at the next appointment that she was moving to another city, you know? I am a believer that you don't have to wait for Karen to move to another city. I am a believer that if this person is causing you that much discomfort, then they should probably not be in your space, and that you have the right to refuse service, and that it's probably for the better for you, Karen, your clients, your friends, family, and loved ones that Karen leaves. And notice I said it's great for Karen too. And we'll talk about all of that today, in which we'll be talking about how to fire a client without getting a negative reaction in return, the best that we possibly can. So we're going to be covering firing a client as a whole today, but particularly how can we do it in a way in which it goes down smoothly. So I have Jodie Brown with me as per usual to facilitate the conversation today. I'll throw it on over to you, Jodie.
I think this is very top of mind for a lot of stylists, and I can absolutely relate to having a client that I dread on my book. So I think this is a very important conversation to give people kind of the comfort level to actually just pull the trigger and do it.
Hell yeah. So where do you think we should start off?
So I think the first thing would be how to decide whether or not you should fire a client.
Here's the tea. Okay. I do believe that there is a part of our industry in which we just have to sign up for dealing with discomfort because we're working with human beings, right? But when it comes to the point where it's as far as what I was sharing in the beginning, where like you're thinking about it all week, where it's like really affecting like how you're showing up for yourself, your family, your friends, like, and your mental health and your other clients, you know, that's when I really think it becomes an issue. I mean, I remember I definitely do my best work, not when I'm like nervous or not when I'm uncomfortable. You know, I remember like when I was working on these people, I'd be like literally sometimes like shaking because I'd be like so scared of whether they would like it or not. And there's no way I can serve somebody well if I'm showing up like that. I think you should fire this person if it gets to the point in which you are unable to give them a great service in the way that you authentically normally know how to. Mm-hmm. Because of how they're making you feel, right? I think a lot of educators will always approach this conversation from one in which they say, like, you deserve to not have this person in your space. And I absolutely believe in that. And I will be sharing some of that perspective today. But I think where that message kind of falls flat for the majority of people is the reason why we're not firing this person is because we're just naturally people pleasers, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so my philosophy from the very beginning of teaching this stuff, and even what has actually worked for myself, is if you truly care, and if that's the reason why you're truly not getting rid of this person, then you should get rid of them because you're not taking good care of them because they make you uncomfortable. Right? So like if it's to the point where you aren't able to do this person a good service, then you're actually doing them a disservice by not letting them go. And on top of that, you're doing everyone, including most importantly yourself, a disservice. Mm-hmm. So nobody is winning at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I think you're so right, is there's so much guilt surrounding letting go of clients. I actually, at my last hair appointment, my hairstylist was talking about their client that they dread that was coming in like 4 days after my appointment. Yeah. And I was like, fire them. Like, why are you letting this person dictate? They're like, well, I just feel so bad. And like, you know, and I'm like, so I totally agree. I think there is so much of like an epidemic of just like not being able to prioritize our own comfort. So I love that you addressed it from that angle too.
Yeah, and the feeling bad part about it too, because I hear about the other experience where it's not necessarily that the person is making you uncomfortable, but maybe it's that they want a service that you just like don't really know how to do a good job at. Yes. Or like their expectations are so unaligned with what you're able to deliver for whatever reason. or you feel as if you're the only one who can deliver on those expectations.
Right.
Like
Right.
maybe this person makes you feel really guilty because they're like, you're the only hairstylist that I've ever found that could do this for me, you know?
Mm.
So then
Hmm.
you feel like there's this responsibility that you're the only person on this earth who can do good hair, which is not
Hmm.
fucking true.
Hmm. Hmm.
Again, like there probably is somebody in the area who can take great care of Karen and probably take better care of Karen than you because you are uncomfortable. Like you don't feel
Yeah.
good, you know?
Yeah.
But this also comes down to, you know, when we have to make business decisions and where we're letting people go. For example, let's say that you are starting to let go of haircut only clients
Hmm.
because you're trying to make more room for your specialty, such as color or extensions, right? Like sometimes you'll be like, well, I'm the only person who can do this razor cut pixie for this client. It's like, no, girl,
Right.
like there is somebody else out there. And it's
Right.
honestly, and I know hair is so special and it's very important. A lot of people have a lot of trauma with it.
Hmm.
On the other side of the coin, it is just hair. Okay.
Right.
On the other side of the coin, it is just hair.
Right.
There's much more important things in life, and this person will figure it out. Why do you have to be the martyr? Like, why do you have to be the one who is like suffering? You know, like there are other people who might not suffer with Karen. How
Right.
about that? Like there's
Right.
people out there in your area who actually would do really well with Karen. I know
Right.
somebody in my salon, in my very first employee salon that I ever worked in. I know there's somebody in there who loves taking on like difficult Karens, like because
Hmm.
she does not fuck around, and they love her. They respond very well to that, right?
Right.
So
They have
like there's
firm
people out
hand.
there who want that money, want that person, and will take it. You know.
Right.
I
Right.
think also when it comes to the other deciding factor is also when there's no amount of money in the world. I think that's the other thing.
Right.
Some poor advice that I feel like I don't agree with is like, oh, well, you don't like a client, just quote them like $1 million more or something like that, right? Like just quote them a
Mhm.
really high price. I just feel like that's just unethical. Like, I mean,
Right.
obviously, I mean, especially if they see like what your what your prices are, you know, like then you're unfairly quoting this person.
Mhm.
But like, I mean, I think just as a good like decision making factor to think about, like, let's say this person was giving me like triple more, right, paying me
Right.
triple more, would I be more likely to want to keep them around, or is there no amount of money that would outweigh the discomfort that this person gives me, right?
Right. Right.
Um, uh, uh, that's the other thing too that I think oftentimes plays into this conversation, because I actually do think that is actually often the case, is that people are actually just underpriced as well too, and
Yes.
they feel like a lot of clients they're undercharging for and that they are uncomfortable with, and it
Right.
actually just becomes a money conversation. It's like, well, you
Right.
wouldn't hate doing these haircut only so much if you were just priced well for these things. Maybe it's not about the person, and so maybe it's a different angle. Maybe it's not about the person, it's actually about how you're running the business and how you're running your systems, and self-reflecting on that and making the difference there instead. So anyways,
That's
those are some things to think about when you're actually deciding whether or not this person should go or not.
okay. That's a great filter. And so once you've already decided, so once you're like, okay, you've weighed it out, you've considered it, and you're like, no, this person's got to go. Like, I need to get rid of them for whatever reason. How do you do so without, like we said, like without causing a ton of backlash or potentially like minimizing the potential blowback from that conversation as much as possible?
Yeah, because I feel like this is like the main thing that really holds us back from actually doing it, is actually having
Totally.
to do it and seeing what
Mhm.
their reaction is. I mean, particularly if this person already makes you feel uncomfortable, I mean, the fear of the response to this is obviously much higher than the average person,
Of
which is very
course.
valid, you know? Again, I'm going to go back to the fact that like you're a business owner and there's just really uncomfortable things that you have to do
Yeah.
sometimes, right? And have to go through and have to confront. I mean, you're a human. The fuck?
Yeah.
I mean, this is a part of fucking human life. You just have to be uncomfortable sometimes. If you ever want to grow as a human, right?
Right.
Like you can stay in the spot that you're at right now, which is pretty damn uncomfortable, or you could be temporarily uncomfortable
Mhm.
and get a lot more comfortable through uncomfortable growth. Does that hopefully that made sense to y'all? I think you get what my message is there. Hopefully, you can either go through short term discomfort that will make it so you are much better off at the end, or stay uncomfortable right now. Right. with that being said, I do believe, and you know, this person could freak out. They could be so upset. They could talk to you about to everybody. They could leave a shitty review. They could try to sue you, whatever it may be, right? Very valid. I'm gonna just throw out those concerns. First off, you should have your clients signing a liability waiver every single time they come to see you. That's a whole other conversation. But besides that, we want to mitigate that as much as possible. And my way that we mitigate that is we make it about them. Okay? We frame it as a service to them to be letting them go as much as we possibly can. We don't talk about us very much. We talk about them, and we put ourselves in their shoes and think about how do they need to hear this, or what is the reasoning that would make it so it feels as if I'm not a problem as a client, right? And that this person is just trying to make the best decision for both of us. That is going to be your goal when you're communicating this to these people. And I am a big fan of doing this non-confrontationally in person. I think doing this over an email or even a text is fine.
Right.
This is not, you're not breaking up with your fucking, you know, your boyfriend or your girlfriend, you know, like this is not, you're not
Right.
divorcing somebody. This
Right.
is business, right? And I'm like kind of a firm believer that you already deal with enough shit and like of this stress and discomfort and hard conversations in your personal life that, you know, you don't really need to be dealing with this in your business at the end of the day. I don't think it's worth it. So, so doing it non-confrontationally, I think is absolutely valid. I also believe that doing it non-confrontationally, you're allowed to say what you mean the way that you want to say it versus like when you're in person, your voice is trembling, you're shaking, you may not do it. You may like roll back on it, and you may not say things the way that you wanted to say them. And I think that, you know, when you have a sensitive conversation such as this, I think that the way that you say things absolutely does matter and affects things.
We talked about making it about them, not about us. Where is the responsibility in terms of like, do you need to find them a new stylist? Do you need to like, what do you recommend in terms of like your, I guess like your parting words to this difficult client?
It really depends on like why you're letting them go. It also depends on like if you're able to lean into like other current events that are happening. So for example, like if you're getting rid of a service or something like that, you can make it like less personal, like about the person. It depends as far as the actual words go and what you actually say. It comes down to, I don't feel as if I can serve you as better as somebody else could. And I feel like I'm doing you a disservice. And then that's how it keeps on going, right? I love the idea of you recommending other people. I mean, I think that particularly in these circumstances, I think that it can be very important for you to recommend other people. And sometimes people are like, oh, well, this is a Karen and I don't want to like put this on somebody else, right? Reality is she's going to go to somebody, you know? So what I will normally recommend is if you truly like care about this person and if you really want to make sure that they're well set, and you also like are comfortable with sending them to a friend or a peer or whatever it may be, then absolutely just give them the direct referral. Otherwise, give them a referral to like the top rated salons in your area and have them figure it out. You know, have the receptionist figure it out and have them deal with it as a team. I think that that's just kind of like what those salons are signing up for, as far as, you know, they're open to anybody and everybody. So that's normally my recommendation. And I do believe that offering that recommendation is important. I also believe that with that, giving the formula, giving the I will, if you would like, your stylist can reach out to me and we will talk about what I normally do on you. Like making sure that this person feels really set, and that you really are going out of your way to make sure that they're set moving forward, I think is a really great way of making it so, you know, they can see that you put in that effort and that you really value them. I mean, even saying, you know, in the message saying like, just so you know, I really value your loyalty. I very much appreciate you visiting my business and I love getting to see you. This is just a business decision that I have to make for both of us moving forward.
Yeah. I love that. So finality in the conversation as well. Like, don't leave it open.
No, I mean, one thing about the non-confrontational communication is like you want to make sure they actually got the message. So that's actually something I still struggle with. I don't really know what the right or wrong answer is. You know, sometimes in the message I would say, respond to me confirming that you've got this email just to make sure. Because if I just remove their appointment that they have pre-booked, Are they still going to show up to it? Like, it's very awkward if they didn't get the message. If you're texting somebody, I'm pretty sure you can safely assume that they got it, right? But if you're just sending
Right.
an email, then maybe you're going to want to ask for confirmation, and that's where you kind of
Right.
leave it open, quote unquote. I will tell you though, even with the difficult clients that I got rid of, I got rid of because they were just genuinely like difficult. Whenever I approach it this way, I've gotten so many thank yous.
Right.
Like, I've gotten so many thank yous. Like, thank you so much for being honest with me and feeling as if you aren't able to deliver on the service that I'm looking for, right? Even though maybe sometimes that wasn't actually the full truth, right? That's what I
Right.
would say. And there was truth to it, but it wasn't the full
Right.
truth, right?
Right.
I can't even tell you how many people really appreciated that and received that so well.
Yeah.
And now they genuinely are doing better with a better person who enjoys them more. It's like, again,
Right.
like, this is not like, this doesn't have to be this detrimental situation. It's like, and
Yeah.
maybe going back to the breakup analogy, this is not a breakup, right? But,
Right.
sometimes there's breakups and sometimes they suck, but sometimes it's better for both parties, either in the short term or the long term, right? And
Yeah.
that's the exact same situation here. And so,
Yeah.
like, we need to like put away our like, we need to put our guilt aside. We need to put our fear aside of the reaction, because this could all end up it's the question of like, what if this ended up being amazing, right? What
Right.
if this ended up being awesome, but you're holding
Right.
yourself back from doing it because of you're scared of the negative thing, and
Yeah.
maybe the negative thing happens. So I want you right now listening to this, because I'm sure you're thinking of that one client right now. Like, let's say that you fire this person and they leave you a 1-star review on Google. Let's say that they text you back and they're freaking out at you. Let's say that they tell their 10 friends about you and they talk shit on you, right? What happens next? Like, write down, like, what happens? Like,
Yeah.
what happens as a result of that, right? Okay, maybe you have this 1-star review that you have to live with for the rest of your career. What the fuck ever, they'll probably see that she's going crazy on there anyway,
Right.
Okay, these 10 people who are her friends, who we probably don't want either, they all have a negative view of you. Who the fuck cares, right?
Right.
Like, life moves on even when you have these negative experiences. So what is the worst that can happen? And regardless, you just have to feel the fear and do it anyway with a situation like this.
Totally. And I think it's worth thinking about too, like if this is causing you this much discomfort in your business, like, and you don't take action, then that's just going to continue.
Yeah. And what's worse,
Yeah.
long suffering forever, or a short-term suffering that doesn't last forever, I think we all know. I think we all know the answer to that. So if you're listening to this, this is your sign, my friend. Get rid of that client. I support you. You will be fine either way. And good luck to you. You are definitely not the first who has had to go through this. And I see all too often, I see much more actually positive experiences versus negative ones, particularly when you approach it from the way that I suggest that you do so. So hopefully this was helpful to you, my friend. You deserve it to be happy within the business that you've worked so hard to build for yourself and your clients that you actually do enjoy. And you've got this. So thanks for tuning in. Peace out, Girl Scout. Bye-bye.